Can you take hair from another person? Is that even possible? Before we continue, do subscribe and click the notification bell so that you're updated with our latest videos. We'll be talking about allotransplantation today. Allotransplant is basically taking tissue from another person and transplanting onto the patient. It differs from autotransplant, where you have your own tissue transplanted into your own body. So we'll look into that, but before we go into the conclusion, we'll need to look at the skin. The skin is the largest organ of the body and it has many functions. So here we have just listed some few of them. It serves as a physical barrier and as a protection against mechanical damage and trauma, against dehydration, UV light, microorganisms. And just say if we didn't have the skin, we wouldn't be able to keep water in the body and we'll die of dehydration very soon. UV light exposure is very important to have it, the microorganisms. So it is quite an important part of our physical well-being that the skin is functioning properly. It also serves as giving us information about the physical world around us through the temperature and the touch sensation, pain and deep pressure sensation, so that we can interact with the world, we can have a feel of things in the literal sense, the feel of the environment around us, whether it's hot or warm or cold or whatever it is. It serves as an endocrine organ also, especially mentioning here vitamin D, which is produced when you're exposed to sunlight. And this is not going to be a video about vitamin D, but I think I'll just mention this because so many people are deficient in vitamin D. So if you are deficient in vitamin D, it can lead to serious sleep disorder, to obesity, heart disease, vitamin B deficiencies, changes in the gut microbiota, and it can lead to diabetes, which I didn't mention here, but it's quite serious not to have enough vitamin D. It also serves to regulate our temperature, so that if it's too cold or if it's too warm, the skin helps us survive that heat or that cold. So all in all, it's important to understand that the skin is the first line of defense and it's a very important part of our protection. And it's also the first line of defense in the immune system, so that it protects against microorganisms. Now, on the skin we have millions of bacteria, and most of them are great to have. We don't need a sterile environment to survive, and even in the mouth or body cavities, in the nose, we have harmful and useful bacteria. And there's a balance. In a healthy person, there's a good balance between these. They are the way it should be, and we have tons of bacteria in our intestinal system, and it should be like that. We need it like that, and actually not having the right bacteria could be harmful. But the skin is then our first line of defense, and as something that doesn't belong to the skin and that is considered harmful enters the body, enters the skin, there will be a reaction to counter that invasion into the body space. And this is a very strong mechanism, and it has to be strong, otherwise we wouldn't be able to function properly. So because of this, whenever we have an allotransplant, the body will react to it, and it will see if it recognizes it as part of its own body, or if it will say it's an intruder. We don't like it here, let's do away with it. So an allotransplant is not possible with hair. It's not that it's not possible at all. After all, we do have hair transplant, we have heart transplantation, we have kidney transplantation, cornea transplantation from another person. So it's not that it's not possible at all. The immune system can be made accept foreign body into its system, but the difference is because hair transplantation is not really about your survival. It might be devastating to have hair loss, which it is in many cases, and it has a great impact on life quality. But the survival of the body is not the question here. So it is a cosmetic need, it's an aesthetic need. So while we have a kidney transplant or heart transplant, or we have a cornea transplant, or we can still opt to suppress the immune system. Suppressing the immune system will mean that it's easier for the graft or the new organ to survive. But suppressing the immune system also comes with a number of risks and complications. We can do that for something that is very essential for the patient's survival, but it's not really possible to do the same for something that is purely or primarily cosmetic purposes. So, for all practical purposes, I know I'll be disappointing tons of people because it's a frequent question, but it's not really possible. That's all about allotransplant for now. Again, do remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you're updated with our most recent videos. See you. Bye.